Oh, hello, this is Tak Chung from Walk with Tak. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share. Feel free to write to me at walkwithtak@gmail.com if you have any question regarding to this video or any other videos that I have posted in the past. If you have any videos that you would like me to make, please let me know. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. For many years, home cooking has been stressful to me because most of the time, I try to figure out what I want to cook. I used to have a relatively small repertoire and I seem to be cooking the same dish over and over again. And that can be really frustrating and disappointing. But not anymore with my fast cooking system. I know exactly what I want to cook each night. I usually start out to decide what kind of protein that I want. That for me is normally the first step in my thinking. Now, last night I went down to the kitchen and as I going down there, I decided I'm going to have some shrimp. So the first thing I get down there is that I thought out some Argentinian wild-caught red shrimp. With my fast cooking system, home cooking is really spontaneous and intuitive. Of course, I never need to use any recipe because of the tempeh-based cooking. And the next thing I decided I would like to do is that I'm going to have some soy tofu puff. Now, soy tofu puff is a kind of tofu that has been deep fried. They use silken tofu, which is a very soft tofu, and they fry it in very hot oil. And the end result is that the outside of the tofu create a crispy texture, but the inside of the tofu have this almost sponge-like texture. Now, this texture is very interesting, and because of its sponge-like, it's able to soak up water. So the first thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to put hot water with this soy tofu puff. And during this process, it will soak up the hot water. And I can also season the water to create flavor in the soy tofu puff. This takes only about 10 minutes to soften the texture of the tofu. And then I said, well, I'm going to have some vegetables. Now, the vegetable part actually is really easy because I always have some vegetable in my advanced prepping. In this case, I have some green bean that were given to us by a friend of ours. And she grown this green bean in her garden. And I decided that I'm going to blanch it first before I do the stir frying. And this green bean is a little bit tougher than other green bean that I purchased. So in my mind, immediately I decided that I probably want to blanch it for about maybe 4 minutes. Usually 3 minutes is probably adequate. But I'm going to taste test it, make sure that I got it right. Some vegetable you can stir fry without blanching it, but not green bean, because green bean has a lot of fibers. You have to blanch it to soften it. Over the years, I discovered the best way to eat more vegetables is to create a vegetable medley that contains different kinds of vegetables. In this way, you can have different vegetables because they all have different flavor and texture. And this will make the dish more interesting. Now, to create vegetable medley is only possible if you have advanced prepping, because through advanced prepping, you can have many different vegetables to choose from. Now, in this case, I decided in addition to the green bean, I'm going to cook this dish with both broccoli and cauliflower. Since I have both of them available in my advanced prepping, all I need to do is find them, and this makes it so easy to create vegetable medley. However, I know that the time for blanching the broccoli and the cauliflower is shorter than the green bean. So I use this almost like a sequential blanching. I'm going to blanch the green bean for about 3 minutes, and then I'm going to add the cauliflower and the broccoli to the hot water. Now this way, I'm going to blanch the cauliflower and the broccoli for only about maybe 1 minute because they don't need to blanch too long. And besides, I don't want them to be too soft. So using this method, I can do everything all in a single wok. And the wok turned out to be perfect for boiling water. And that's another reason that I always recommend a stainless steel wok. In the case of carbon steel wok, boiling water is not the best thing in this type of wok. Because carbon steel wok will rust and it requires a thin layer of oil on the surface to prevent it from rusting. When you boil water in it, it will remove that thin layer of oil, and if you do not replenish it, it will cause it to rust. And next, I transfer the vegetables to a bowl of cold water and to stop them from cooking any further. I love this approach This not only allows me to use different kinds of vegetables, but it also allows me to use them up. And then I'm going to drain it. So next, I'm going to ready to cook. So the first step is that I'm going to stir fry briefly of the vegetables because I already blanched it. So basically, they're all cooked, ready to go. And that really shortens the time to actually to cook this dish. And then I add the soy tofu puff to it. Now at this point, I'm going to add the shrimp. Now this shrimp comes with shell. And in fact, the shell plays a very important role because it have a tendency to protect the shrimp from freezer burn. And this is the reason I always purchase shrimp with shell. Each type of shrimp comes with a different texture and different flavor. I remember the first time when I cooked this shrimp, I overcooked them. So now I become very careful. I know how long I should cook them so that the texture will turn out just the way I like it. To season this dish, I'm going to use my wok with tak basic seasoning mix. Now this seasoning mainly is to enhance the natural flavor of the food ingredients. This seasoning mix is very low in salt. The main purpose is to add umami molecule to the dish, to make the ingredients in the dish more savory. Now with this approach, it is very different from what I used in the past. A lot of time in the past, I used mainly oyster sauce and hoisin sauce. So first and foremost, it will also give the dish a different appearance. And when I add the soy tofu puff, it brought in some fluid. I want to thicken the fluid, and I sprinkle some cornstarch directly over the food ingredients. I find that this actually is an excellent way to create a sauce when you already have some fluid in the wok. Otherwise, I will create a cornstarch water suspension and add that to the wok. Either way seems to work well. Again, you can always adjust the thickness of the sauce by adding some hot water, as I am doing in this particular case. So as you can see, using this approach, the outcome of this dish is very different from other dishes that I cooked in the past, which I mainly use oyster sauce and hoisin sauce. Now, I still like oyster sauce better, but once in a while, I would like to do it slightly differently. I'm going to create this dish differently. I'm going to start out with some rice that I already put onto this plate. Now this is a nice plate, which is a shell-looking plate, and allow me to put all the food ingredients onto the same plate. And this is a more, I would call it the American Chinese way of food presentation. When you go to an American Chinese restaurant, you order a dish, it will always contain everything in that plate. But in the traditional Chinese serving, the dishes usually presented in a separate plate, and the rice will be given to the diner in a bowl. Now this plate is a very nice plate, and I must agree that this plate makes the food look much more presentable. But I think it is important for us to remember that flavor contains 5 individual aspects, start out with taste, aroma, texture, sight, and emotion. And sight is very important. If the food has a good presentation, most likely that you will find the food actually tastes great. So presentation definitely is an important aspect. So in this case, using this particular plate, provide a different presentation that I normally do when I put it in a regular round plate. So to make it more presentable and to make the dish more interesting, I put the shrimp on the side right next to the rice. Now you notice that I have only 4 shrimp, and since they are jumbo shrimp, the 4 shrimp is probably more than enough than what we want. And besides, we want to use the shrimp as a condiment rather than as the main ingredient. The vegetable is really, I would call it the star of this particular dish. And then I'm going to garnish the dish with some scallion. I really like scallion for this purpose, particularly this part of the scallion that I cut in strips. It gives a nice onion flavor. This dish is very fast, simple, and easy to cook, but it can result in great presentation. Again, this demonstration of the template-based cooking. And best thing when you be able to cook when you enter the kitchen is to cook with spontaneity and intuition. And with Advanced Brain, you have all the ingredients that you need. And with template-based cooking, you can be creative in create a dish. And this makes cooking spontaneous and intuitive. I post a video each day to help you to make home cooking as part of your daily routine using my fast cooking system, which will make home cooking practical, efficient, creative, and fun. If you'd like to learn more about this cooking system, please subscribe to this YouTube channel. So keep on cooking, and I will see you tomorrow.